Hello and welcome along to Adobe After Effects with your host Robert Smith. In this series of videos we're going to put together a basic slideshow using some great After Effects animation techniques. Let's get stuck in. Okay, let's have a look at what we're going to actually do. So if I just grab this movie, this is what we're going to make. The Hipster Media slideshow. As you can see, it's got an introduction, and then the slides kick in like this. I've only put 4 in. You can put as many as you like in. And then we have a contact at the end. Okay, that's what we're going to make. So let's get stuck in. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is import some assets. So to do that, I'm just going to double click over here in the project window. Now the assets I'm after this time is the buildings.psd. Okay, so let's import that. Now remember, when we're importing, to change that to composition retain layer sizes, and that'll bring it in as a layered document, which is what we want. Okay, this is what After Effects has done. It's brought in the actual files inside a folder. There's all my layers, and it's made a composition. Thanks very much, After Effects. Save us the trouble. Now if I double click on this composition, you'll see that now it's been reconstructed. Let's have a look at that file in Photoshop. If I go to Command Tab, let's have a look at it. That's what the file looked like in Photoshop. Just 3 simple layers. I'll just go back to After Effects. Like this. Now, it's made a composition, which is what After Effects likes to do with a layered document, but it doesn't really know how long it's going to be, and in this case it's the wrong size because that image is not the size we're going to be working at. So to fix that, I'm going to go to Composition Settings like this, and I'm going to use a preset just to make life a bit easier, which is the HDTV 72025. That sounds very complicated. If I click here, you'll see it'll fill in the width of 1280 by 720, 25 frames per second, and we're going to work a duration of 20 seconds. That's what we want. I'll make that 30 seconds, so you always make it a bit longer than you think you should. And I'll just type in 3000 there, like that, which will make it 30 seconds long. Okay, let's grab this and drag it along a little bit. Okay, I've got a few too many things over here. I don't really need this duration, so if I hold the Control key down, I'll just go hide that. And we're not doing any parenting, so I'll hide that as well, which will give me more timeline to look at. Okay, I'll just hold the Control key down there and clicking on it to do that. Okay, so here we have a 30-second timeline. It's zoomed in a little bit, so I'm going to drag that to the right, like this. And seeing as though we've changed the length of our composition, you'll notice that these only last for 20 seconds now, these images on the timeline, like that. So to fix that, I'm just going to select all the layers by Apple A down here, clicking there like that. If I just drag the end, they'll all now be 30 seconds long. Okay, they take up the whole timeline. Let's get to animating. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to animate backwards. We want this image to look like this at about 1 second in time, or 1.5 seconds in time. So to do that, I'm going to zoom in on my timeline a bit by grabbing that yellow thing and dragging in. You'll notice the numbers are changing now from every 2 seconds. I want to go to every 1 second. Okay, you can see 1, 2, 3. And I can zoom back out at any time, just like that. Okay, I want to go to about 1 second in time, like this. And I want to set up, that's basically a finishing position for this image. So to do that, I'm going to press the letter P, like that. You'll notice because all the layers are selected, they all open up and show the position property. Very neat. So if I click here in the stopwatch to make my first keyframe, what's happening now is that doesn't matter what happens before that, at 1 second in time, that image is going to look like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the start here and click down here to deselect that. I'm going to start to move these around a bit. So the reflection, I'm going to grab that. And if I grab this number here, I'm just going to drag that to the left like that. That's the first number. I'll just drag it off the stage like that. I'll do the same with the building. The building I'll go up this time. Actually, I won't use that one. Apple Z, I'll just use this one here, the second number, and drag that to the left. And the ellipse, I'll drag that to the right. by dragging the first number. So what I've done, I've set up where they're going to start from, and they'll animate after 1 second back to how they should look. Now that's a technique you use all the time in After Effects, where you set up the finished product like this, and then before that you would put some more keyframes. Okay, that's pretty exciting. Let's look at that. That's a bit drab really, so let's fix that a little bit. Let's add a bit of drama to that animation. To do that, I'm just going to go here, just a little bit before the second keyframe, and I might zoom in a bit more so I can just see a bit more of the timeline. Okay, so about here, what I want to do is I want to move them past where they're going to go, and then they'll snap back into position. So to do that, I'll grab the ellipse, this one here, and it's coming that way, so I'll just move it a little bit to the left, a bit further than it has to go. And the building, I'll do the same with that. I'll just bring it down a bit further than it has to go. And the reflection, I'll do the same thing with that. It's coming from that way, so I'll just drag that to the right. Okay, let's have a look at that. So if we press the space bar, see how it snaps back into position. That just gives it just that little bit more drama. Very nice indeed. Okay, having done that, let's get some background happening as well. I'm going to just close up those layers, and I'm going to import some more files. If I double click here, now the file I want this time is this multiple file like that. I also want the beard, and that'll do. So open those two. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the buildings, this logo multiple PSD file, which is a whole lot of buildings like that, and I'll just put those in the background. Very nice indeed. Okay. Also, what I want to do now is put a solid in. So if I hold the Control key down and click here, I'm going to go to a new solid like this, and that's the color I want, a really deep orange. Very nice, and I'll grab that and drag that layer down here so it's on top of the logo. And I'm going to use one of these Photoshop techniques of multiply like this. So what it's doing, this layer here is multiplying with the layer exactly the same as it does in Photoshop. Okay, let's have a look at that. Looking so much better. So if I just drag that, in it comes and stays there looking pretty good indeed. Okay, but what I want to do is, after about it's done its little animation like this, I want to bring this guy's beard in to give it a bit of a hipster feel. So I'm going to grab the beard layer, beard file, and drag that down here. Drag it on top of the solid like this, and I'll just move it along a little bit so it doesn't start till the actual animation finishes, or we don't see it. So if I drag that like that, then the beard kicks in. Now I'm going to use, I think it's a pin light effect, which is this one here. That's the effect I want. Now I'm using the pin light beard up against the deep solid, which gives us this look here. Then I'm going to move it down into position by just using the arrow keys to nudge it down to about here is where I want it to be, like that. Very nice indeed. Okay, so we've got that, and the beard kicks in. Now what I want to do is just fade that beard in. It's a bit sudden. It comes on a little bit suddenly. So to get to the start or the end point of this layer here, I'm going to press the shortcut I like that, which brings the playback head right to the start of that layer. Then if I press the letter T, I'll get the opacity property. So I'll click here to put a keyframe, and I'll drag that down to 0, that number here. So now it's disappeared, and over about half a second, I'll bring that up to 100%, and then that beard will fade in. Okay, so let's have a look what we've got so far. We've got the animation like that, and the beard fading in. Okay, to be continued in the next video.